Hey there, toy collector friends and Battlestar Galactica fans alike. Welcome back to the channel. This is the time traveling toy collector, and this here is the Hero Collector Battlestar Galactica Colonial Viper Mark I model from their Battlestar Galactica range. This is another beautiful model. Apologies for cutting straight to my final verdict here, because there's no beating about the bush. But this here is a beautiful model. It's based on the Colonial Vipers that were in many ways practical models used in the original 1970s TV series that was created by, if I remember rightly, Glenn A. Larson in response to the boom of sci-fi around the Star Wars era. I think it was a concept he'd had previously, certainly the idea of the colonies and the etc, and it finally was brought to realization with mixed success, I think it's fair to say, towards the back end of the 70s. And this was one of the key ships from that series. It's the Colonial Forces key battle, light battle cruiser, not really, fighter, I suppose is the best way to describe it. And it has a certain, I'm not using it on a turntable because I want to be able to do this quite slowly and because it's quite a long ship. I think the practical on-set props are something like 8.5, designed to be about 8.5 meters long. And as usual, Hero Collector have done a sterling job of recreating this. But I want to be mindful of trying to keep as much of it in vision, apart from where we zoom in perhaps, as possible for you to have a real close look at this. It does smack of that Star Wars era, and that's in no way due to the design influences of Ralph McQuarrie, who did a lot of the concept art, as I'm sure many of you know, for Star Wars and other smashes of the time. And so, having also been involved in the concept of Battlestar Galactica and its associated ships, there's no surprise to see the Ralph McQuarrie influences here when we're looking at the Colonial Viper. So my initial reactions to this are hugely impressive. As soon as I got it out of the box, I thought, wow, this is... Well, one of the cool things with Hero Collector, and I've not mentioned this before really, is you get the box, and it's usually they're all the ships, whether it's a Star Trek ship or it's a Battlestar Galactica ship, for example. They're similar in sizes. They vary occasionally, but once you take and they're kind of a size, as I say. But once you take the ship out, it never really ceases to amaze me just how large scale they actually are. And so I'm just going to sort of say, well, here's my hand in context, and I'm going to wrap my hand around it. You can see here, this is not a small plastic toy. It does have design traits that are, this is what I was alluding to a moment ago, that allude to, for me, sort of X-Wing fighter, in that sort of wing deployment. I know it doesn't look like an X-Wing fighter because it only has 3 wings, but there's just something to the long fuselage and the cockpit here, with the engine array centrally placed and then the wings offshooting there, that gives me that sort of evokes for me that sense of X-Wing fighter. And the villains of the piece, the Cylons, had a very sort of flat fighter vehicles, the Raiders, Cylon Raider ships, and as I recall, they don't look anything like TIE fighters, but which would be the Imperial equivalent in Star Wars, but when you see them having their dogfights in Battlestar Galactica, there just, for me, are some visual similarities and stylistic similarities that jump out of the screen. Anyway, I think there was some legal shenanigans behind the scenes as to whether or not one was ripping off the other, That's not for us to talk about. And what I might do is delve into, I'm sure there'll be somebody with videos about the troubled past, or not so troubled past, of Battlestar Galactica versus Star Wars. If that's something you're interested in exploring, and you can find a video, then by all means drop a link in the comments. I'll be fascinated to go and watch it. But this video, this is about this fantastic designed and realized Hero Collector model. We can see, let me grab my little pointer pen. We can see the high level of detailing here around the three engines, the three thrusters. We've got the beautiful level of detail around the engine and indeed the coolant intake here. I'm trying to see, what I might do is tilt it there and zoom in for you. I will pick it up in a second as well, but it's just easier to, you might be able to see that. But here we've got the coolant intake valves. It's not showing too well on the camera, but if I go in quite close with the pen, it might zoom in. But there are actually what appear to be fans built into the design model, so you can actually see that. Let me bring it a bit closer just to see if the camera will pick that up for you. It's quite dark in there, isn't it? So I don't know whether you can see them. If I take it back, tilt it a little, there you can see them a little bit better there. Let's try both sides. Those are the coolant fans that you can see there, for coolant intake valves for the engines. You've also got the wingtip mounted laser blasters there, the cockpit, which is again very nicely designed and realized in translucent plastic, so you can see through that. It's a bit, the design of the fuselage there is it's a lovely, sort of very simplistic and streamlined design, but by being this close on it, you can also see that Eaglemoss and Hero Collector by design have given it this weathered, battle weary and battle worn look that extends around much of the ship, which I think is a lovely touch, because these Viper craft are all ships that have most definitely seen battle. There is no doubt that every single one of these has seen battle, certainly at the time we join the story. They're such an iconic design that what's really beautiful is that they were brought back for the reboot when Battlestar Galactica came back in the noughties. One of the key things that didn't change dramatically, admittedly they were updated and rightly so, but the Viper design that you see here pretty much translated across into the Vipers of the modern retelling of the Battlestar Galactica story. Let's whiz it round again and see if we can have a look at the actual engine array. You can see some of that beautiful detailing here. Now again, there may be Battlestar Galactica aficionados out there who are saying, ah yes, but there's this cable missing or there's that missing, and that may be true, so apologies if I'm not as au fait on the exact design specifications of the ship as you may be, but you can always leave a comment on the video or put up your own review if you like, and there's any particular points you want to make. I'm just trying to get that lit for you there so you can see the detailing around the thrusters. There's no paint detailing that suggests weathering around the thrusters. It's very much a single matte colouring there. I suspect that may be a problem for some. It is fine for me because again it's a display piece and the thrust will mostly be out of sight. But again, we've got the level of detailing here where we can also see the fuel lines in place. This is, again, it's very rare, and some of you will have seen some of those rarities if you followed other videos, but it's very rare that I have too many bad things to say about the quality of an Eaglemoss build. Usually where there is something, it's either around the paint bleed, but I'm not getting that here. I'm not even thinking that they've overdone the wear and tear and battle damage on the fuselage of the ship itself. I think it is very proportionate indeed to the Colonial Vipers. Bear in mind they're close combat craft, very good for dogfights. They've seen a lot of war, a lot of battle. Similarly, they're launched through tubes that are situated either side of the main ship, the actual Battlestar Galactica itself, or any of the other Battlestars that may be in play. And so they are going to get dirty. It's a dirty sci-fi environment. It's not the crystal gleaming white that some sci-fi presented alternate futures or alternate worlds as being. It was very much a ship that were gritty and battle ready and maneuverable, you know. So it was going to get dusty, dirty, and pick up battle debris and battle scarring. As promised, I'm going to pick this up. I have to comment when I don't usually talk about this side of it, other than my fear of damaging ships. Just wanted to commend it sounds like a strange thing to commend, but the particular display here. It's nicely designed there to give really good support. Sometimes some of the ships, and I'm thinking of the Space 1999 range, for example, they don't always have the very best, and it could be the way I'm deploying them, but they don't always have the very best base to support the centre of gravity of the ships. So sometimes there's a little bit of it suffers, or at least my nerves suffer greatly when I'm handling ships and taking them on and off the base. That is not the case here. It's very robust. It feels very strong. Obviously you want to be careful, like all Hero Collector toys, models. There's combinations here of die cast and plastic, so it has heft to it. You can feel the weight mostly in the fuselage, and you can feel that it's more plasticky around the back here. You can see that the weapon systems are there. There's not much. I don't think there's much, but I'll try and see if I can get in there. There's not really much detail on the interior of the cockpit, but never mind. But I'm going to try and get as many different angles for you on this, because it's beautiful. No matter which way you shoot it, it's a beautiful ship. So let's get some of the underside of the ship. I suppose if I was going to be super picky, you can't really see where the landing gear. These ships are also equipped to land, and you can't really see where the landing gear. My guess would be it would be here, and probably here from memory, but we don't really see that here. It's not pulled out particularly, but again, that's me being preemptively super picky. You can see those coolant vents a bit more clearly on that angle as well. But you can see, I mean, this is me holding it in two hands here, so you can get a real sense of the heft and the length of this vehicle, of this craft. But yeah, Colonial Viper Mark 1, I hasten to add. Other marks are available. Let me see how easily I can, and stress-free, my reattaching. There you go, slips straight on. And as I say, it is quite robust on that stand. I have none of the qualms that I sometimes have regarding Eagle Moss ships on their stands. I'm just trying to zoom in for a bit of a final look for you. So we also get, as is the want with Hero Collector, we get the Battlestar Galactica official collection booklet, Viper Mark 1 from the original series, and again inside you get some nice illustrations. Really hard to hold this up and keep it lit. Some very beautiful artwork. I mentioned Macquarie's work and design stuff earlier. You get quite a bit of that in here, so you get to see quite a bit of the concept art. There's also photos from the original series, and there's if you like, an aerial elevation and a rear and front elevation as well. So it's a handy little magazine. It's nice. It's a nice little add-on that Hero Collector give us. which I can only be grateful for. I wasn't necessarily going to start collecting the Battlestar Galactica models. I then saw them live in hand at I think it was a Destination Star Trek convention in London, and actually paid attention to them for the first time and thought, wow, actually these are pretty good quality and surprisingly large and hefty. And I remember bypassing as a kid the plasticky Battlestar Galactica Viper and Cylon Raider models. I remember a little toy shop where I was growing up that did stock them, as well as some Airfix kits, if anyone remembers Airfix kits, versions of them as well. And I remember them having plastic missiles that launched, and I think, now I could be talking absolute nonsense here, but I think when I finally got round to trying to go in and get them from this toy shop, because I either saved up my pocket money or whatever, it came out that they'd either been recalled or they'd been discontinued because of something that had occurred in the States, where I think a child, and again, I should check my facts before I babble about this, because I could be way off, but again, people may know more about this and able to comment. I think a child had inadvertently, and accidentally swallowed one of the missiles, or it got lodged in their throat, and I think it was a Battlestar Galactica model that had led to that tragedy, which led to them being withdrawn, and then that whole missile firing element being removed from that toy line. And I think that was the beginning of it being removed from lots of other toy lines as well over time. I think now it's very hard to find anything that has a meaningful firing mechanism on a missile. So that's possibly a debate for another day as to whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, either way, that's a little bit of the past creeping into my memory, and I'm not sure. Again, I might be way off, but I might go and check that. And when I do a future Battlestar Galactica video, I shall correct myself if I was wrong. But again, feel free to leave some comments if you think I'm on the right track, or any of that is utter balderdash, which it could well be, so apologies in advance if it is. So this is the Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark I, Colonial Viper from the Colonial Fleet, as seen in the Battlestar Galactica TV series the first time around. What do we think? I think it's lovely. I think it's hefty. I love that it's a simple but iconic design. Often the case. Sometimes some of the simplest designs are the ones that can be the most iconic, and I'm very much here for that ideology. What do you think? Does it have a place in your collection? Maybe like me, you were not sure if you wanted to collect any Battlestar Galactica stuff until you've had a chance to see it up close and personal. Maybe this video has helped you think, yes, I have to get that now. Maybe the video has helped you think, yeah, no, it's a hard pass from me, but thanks for showing me. Either way, that's great, happy to help. And if it has helped, please do hit that like button to let me know. Similarly, while you're there, you may as well take a subscription out to the channel. It's free. Hit the notification button, and then you'll never miss another video about Battlestar Galactica ships, or indeed Star Trek, or some Star Wars stuff, or Transformers, or Doctor Who, or goodness knows what. There's loads coming up, and there's loads already there, so if there's anything that particularly interests you, by all means have a little look around. I just want to thank you for staying with me for the last 20 or so minutes. It's always great to have someone watch the video. I hope you enjoyed it, hope it was informative. Do stick around for another one, or come back at your leisure. You have been a fantastic audience. I've been the time-travelling toy collector. This has been the Battlestar Galactica Viper Mark I from the original series, and it just remains for me to say thank you. And remember that a thing of beauty really is a toy forever. Take care. Bye-bye for now.